Assassination Classroom Season 1 is based off the manga. So I actually read the manga first, about the first 12 volumes before checking out the anime. And I guess I checked out the anime a little bit too soon because I got rather bored with the first half of the season. It basically plot for plot, dialogue for dialogue, just animated. So I took a break and then I finished the second part of the season a little while later after I forgot most of it, and then it was more enjoyable. And of course the action sort of picks up once the characters are sort of developed. So basically the concept of Assassination Classroom is it's one of those movies from the 80s or 90s where a teacher has to influence a classroom, and he or she is a new teacher and they're like an underdog class, and they have to inspire them and help them reach their goals because that is the bond between teacher and student. So they take it to extremes in this. At a high school in Japan, there's the E class, also known as the N class, where all the students with the crappiest grades are forced to go. They're forced to go to a separate whole part of the school on top of a mountain away from the main school. They're not allowed to use the cafeteria, they're not allowed to use the pool or the gym or anything like that. They're kept separately because the principal has the sort of doctrine that you have to do really well or else you're going to be shoved in this E class where everyone hates. So everyone hates E class because they think they're the crappiest, but they don't want to be them. So also the teachers that are there are also crappy. They don't try to help the students get out of E class because they don't have any reason to be motivating the students. And that is, of course, until a giant yellow octopus creature demands that he gets to teach this E class. So it's a really weird concept because this giant octopus-like creature destroyed the moon, and then he said he's going to destroy the planet in a year's time. But in the meantime, if he's allowed to teach these students for a year, he won't destroy the planet. So obviously there's something going on with this giant yellow octopus guy, which they end up calling Koro-sensei. He is a octopus creature, an artificial life form that can move at Mach 20. He's super fast. Normal bullets can't kill him. The only thing that can hurt him are special anti-substance weapons that are built to fight him. So little pellet guns or knives or anything that can be molded into substances. He's also so fast that he can blur himself and be in multiple places at once. He's also got the ability to fly as well, but he's also got all these other powers they don't know about, and that's why they're going to allow him to teach this school and then train the students to become the Assassination Classroom, which is the title of the series. So the first half of the season 1 is mostly character development. Every episode they'll actually develop a different character, and even the author of the manga actually created around 30 plus actual students. Like, they didn't just focus on 8 to 10 of them and then just have different background. He actually designed all the other characters, even if they don't have a whole episode devoted to them. They're also in the background, they have a name, they don't change. So he wanted to have that sort of realism. So basically the first half of the season's different episodes describing the different characters. The focus is on Nagisa. He's like a girlish boy who's not very outgoing, but there's a $10 billion yen bounty if they're able to kill him before the year is over. And they'll be trained by Kurosama-san. He is a elite badass soldier, young, and Irina Yelovich. He's a Russian honeypot agent. So over the course of the series, you get character development for all the different students, all their weaknesses, and watch this amazing super teacher inspire them in ways that other teachers haven't. And it's also a social satire, I guess, of teachers that don't do well, I guess, or the fact that a giant yellow octopus with superpowers is the only thing that can help these students because normal teachers don't want to because they're not inspired anymore to teach. So I guess it's sort of a social satire about that. But it's also just a fun, zany science fiction fantasy story. You know, it's a comedy, you know, so everything is lighthearted, even though they're being trained to kill this guy. So the second half of the first season sort of gets more serious. We found out more weaknesses about Koro-sensei, as well as winding down to a climax on an island complex. If you were to compare it to the manga, I think it stops around volume 7. But so the second season of the anime will be the finale of all the rest of the 22 books, or 21 books. So Assassination Classroom Isn't mandatory viewing, I'd say, if you're an anime fan, but it's a lot of fun. It's a comedy about, you know, a teacher inspiring students, even though it's got a ridiculous premise. It's a lot of fun, you know. It's just a comedy anime. I really like the voice acting for Koro Sensei. He's got that sort of sort of tittering laugh that is done a lot in the manga, so they're able to do that in the anime. Also, the second half of season 1 is a lot more interesting because there's more action. So when you're reading the manga, there isn't a lot of movement, but it's cool to see the action sequences, you know, in color, as well as the all the cool story arcs. Once the characters get developed, things happen, more things happen. So definitely check out Assassination Classroom if you're in the mood for a light, breezy, fun anime comedy.